Hello students, today we are going to start the fourth chapter and that is atomic structure and chemical bonding. Now we'll start with atoms. Now you all know what are atoms. Atoms are the smallest particle of an element which may or may not exist independently but takes part in chemical reaction. Okay? And atoms make up of all elements, and atoms can be further subdivided into three subatomic particles: protons, neutrons and electrons. The number of protons in an atom tells us what kind of element the atom makes up. Now let's see this atomic structure. This is the Bose model of an atom. This is the nucleus. Okay. Now what is the nucleus? The nucleus of an atom is made up of protons. So you can see here protons and neutrons. The blue color represents protons. You can see the positive charge also. And then you can see the neutrons. Okay, the red colored balls. The nucleus is the dense center part of the atoms and contains most of the atom's mass. So, what are protons? They are the positively charged particles in the nucleus, and the number of protons is also the atomic number. And what are neutrons? The particles that have no charge and are located in the nucleus. And then we have electrons. You can see these green balls in the orbits or cells. So they are the negatively charged particles which rotate around the nucleus in fixed cells or orbits. Now, atoms are usually neutral. Why? Because the number of protons is always equal to the number of electrons. Okay? And if the number of protons and electrons are not equal, an atom becomes electrically charged, either positively or negatively charged, called as ion. Then in this chapter you are also going to learn about isotopes. Isotopes are atoms of the same element which has the same atomic number, that means the same number of protons but different mass number due to different number of neutrons. Okay, so isotopes of an element can be identified by their mass number, the sum of protons and neutrons in the nucleus. Why? Because isotopes of the same element will have different mass numbers. So this was the introduction. Now here you can see the table where the charges of the subatomic particles are given. So you have to learn this, the symbol, the charge, the mass, okay, in atomic mass unit and then in grams. So already I have discussed this. Then you need to learn the definition of atomic number. So what is that? The number of protons present inside the nucleus of an element is, of an atom of an element, is known as atomic number, which is denoted by the symbol Z, capital Z. Okay. Now let's see out here. Now suppose X denotes the symbol of the element. The superscript means the number which is written on the top side. Okay, that is called as the superscript. So superscript A denotes the mass number. Subscript, which is written at the bottom. So the subscript J denotes the atomic number. Okay, so what is atomic number? It is equal to the number of protons, which is also equal to the number of electrons. And mass number is the sum of number of neutrons plus number of protons. Okay. So if we need to find the number of neutrons, then what we can do? We can subtract the atomic number from the mass number. Okay, as you can see here. So what is mass number? Mass number of an element is the total number of protons and neutrons present in its nucleus, which is denoted by the symbol A. Now let's go through the distribution of electrons in the orbits following the Bohr-Bury scheme. So already I have showed you the diagram. Now first rule is the maximum number of electron in a particular cell is given by the formula 2n square. Okay, so the cells are named in this way. First cell is called as K, second L, M, N. So if we use this formula, so the maximum number of electrons in the K cell can be 2, L cell can be 8, in M cell 18, N cell 32. Electrons are not accommodated in a given cell unless the inner cells are filled. In other words, the cells are filled in stepwise manner. First, the inner cells will be filled according to the rule, Bohr-Bury rule, and then the outer cells will be filled. The outermost cell of an atom cannot accommodate more than 8 electrons, even though it has the capacity. For example, we'll see the electron distribution, or which is also known as the electronic configuration of calcium. The atomic number of calcium is 20. That means it has 20 protons and 20 electrons. So in the K cell 2 electrons, L cell 2, M cell 8 and N cell 2. Why? Because the outermost cell cannot contain more than 8 electrons. Okay. Similarly, we'll go through other examples. Okay, so you see, what is the maximum capacity? 18. Okay, but only 8 electrons are filled in it. Why? Because the elements become stable only after acquiring 8 electrons in the outermost cell. Then what is rule 4? The outermost cell of a chemically stable atom can accommodate a maximum of 8 electrons. But exception are hydrogen and helium, which can accommodate 2 electrons and be stable. Now let's see the structure of magnesium atom. So the atomic number of magnesium is 12 and atomic mass is 24. That means it has 12 protons, 12 neutrons. 24 minus 12 is 12. So it has 12 neutrons. Okay. So you can see the distribution 2, 8, 2. In lighter elements up to argon, each cell is completely filled before electron can occupy in outer cell. Okay, but there are exceptions. Now after argon, the next element in the periodic table is potassium. So in potassium, its atomic number is 19. So the number of electrons is 19 total. So the distribution will be 2, 8, 8 and then 1. Okay, we cannot, though the M cell can accommodate 18 electrons, we cannot write 9 here because the outermost cell should have 8 electrons. Okay. So here you see, once again be clear, X is the atomic symbol, capital A denotes the mass number, capital Z denotes the atomic number. Okay. Now you go through the orbital diagrams of atoms of the first 20 elements. Then you go through the main features of the structure of atoms. Then you see arrangement of electrons in atoms of element having atomic numbers from 1 to 20. So from here I'll take few examples. Okay. So first one is, suppose I take neon. Neon is an inert gas. Symbol Ne. Atomic number is 10. Okay. Mass number is 20. So number of neutrons is 20 minus 10, it is 10. Electronic configuration is 2, 8. Okay. And its valency is 0. It is a noble gas. Second example I'll take of a non-metal. Chlorine, symbol Cl, okay. Atomic number 17. There are two isotopes of chlorine having mass number 35 and 17. So the number of neutrons can be either 18 if the mass number is 35 and 20 if the mass number is 37. So the distribution of electrons will be 2, 8 and 7. And what will be the valency? 1. How? Because the number of electrons in the outermost cell is 7. So we will subtract it from 8. 8 minus 7 is 1. Then you see potassium. Atomic number is 19, mass number 39. On subtracting, we get number of neutrons as 20. Electronic configuration 2, 8, 8, 1. And its valency is 1. It is a metal. Okay. Now, what are valence electrons and valence cell? The outermost cell of an atom is called as the valence cell, and the number of electrons in the valence cell are known as valence electrons. Okay. And the chemical properties of elements are decided by these valence electrons, since they are the ones that take part in chemical reactions. Now, elements which have valence electrons 1 or 2 or 3, exception hydrogen and helium, they are metals. Okay. So these elements can lose electrons to form ions which are positively charged and are called cations. As you can see, sodium, what is the electronic configuration? 2, 8, 1. So it loses one electron and it forms a positively charged ion, sodium cation. Okay. And then the metals are good reducing agents because they help in reduction. How? What is reduction? Reduction is the gain of electrons. So they are good reducing agents because they lose electrons, okay, and they can supply electrons for reduction to take place. And elements with 4, 5, 6 or 7 electrons in their valence cells are non-metals. So these elements can gain electrons to form ions which are negatively charged. And what are they called as? Anions. Okay. For example, chlorine. The electronic configuration is 2, 8, 7. So it gains one electron and hence it forms a negatively charged ion which is known as anion. Okay. And its electronic configuration is satisfied, and they are good oxidizing agents. Why? Because what is oxidation? Oxidation is loss of electrons. So the non-metals help in the process of oxidation. How? Because they can gain the electrons which is lost during oxidation. Okay. So these 2 points you are going to keep in mind. What are those? Metals are good reducing agents and non-metals are good oxidizing agents. Now, what are inert gases or noble gases? Elements with a valence shell having 8 electrons. Exception is helium, which has 2 electrons. Okay, they cannot gain or lose electrons, so they are chemically inactive. So what are they known as? Inert gases or noble gases. Now let's see the definition of valency, very important. Valency is the combining capacity of an element with other elements and is equal to the number of electrons that take part in a chemical reaction. That means valency is also equal to the number of electrons shared or transferred during a chemical reaction. Okay. So valency of the elements having 1, 2 or 3 valence electrons is 1, 2, 3 respectively, easy. While valency of elements with 4, 5, 6 and 7 valence electron will be 4, 3, 2 and 1. How is it possible? It is because the maximum number of electrons in the outermost shell can be 8. Okay, so 8 minus 4 is 4. So the valency will be 4 if there are 4 valence electrons. If there are 5 valence electrons, 8 minus 5 is 3. So the valency will be 3. If there are 6 valence electrons, 8 minus 6 is 2. So valency is 2. If there are 7 valence electrons, 8 minus 7 is 1. So the valency will be 1. Now, what is the reason of chemically activity of an atom? It is because atoms of all noble gases except helium, okay, have 8 electrons in the outermost shell. This is known as the octet, and for helium it is called as the duplet. So what happens is that they are chemically stable. Why? Because they have a stable electronic configuration. They do not combine either with other atoms or among themselves to form molecules. Why? Since their outermost cells are already filled. Their combining capacity is 0. Okay. So we can say that the chemical activity of an atom depends upon the number of electrons in the valence shell of its atom. Chemically active atoms, they have an incomplete octet, either less than 8 electrons or less than 2 electrons in their valence shell. Okay. Now, elements tend to combine with one another to attain the stable electronic configuration, that is the octet rule. Okay. So now this is the refined definition of valency. The number of electrons gained, lost, okay, or shared to attain the octet in the outermost shell gives the combining capacity of the element, that is valency. So now you are going to learn this. So as a result of this redistribution of electrons, why redistribution? Because there is either gain or loss of electrons. Okay. Then what happens? A force of attraction develops between atoms which binds them together to form molecules, and this force is known as the chemical bond. Okay. So you learn the definition. So isotopes definition we have already learned, no? Atoms of the same element which have the same atomic number but different mass number. Now these are the examples. You can see hydrogen, carbon, chlorine, oxygen. Okay, these are in your syllabus. So first of all, we will see the 3 isotopes of hydrogen. They are called as protium, deuterium and tritium. In protium, you can see there is 1 proton, 1 electron. Number of neutron is 0. Okay. In deuterium, 1 proton and 1 electron and 1 neutron. Okay. And its mass number is 2. How? 1 proton plus 1 neutron equals to 2. In tritium, the mass number is 3. How? 1 proton, 2 neutron. Mass number 3. And the number of electron is 1. Okay. So these are the 3 isotopes of hydrogen. Then you see for carbon, whose atomic number is 6. It has 3 isotopes whose mass numbers are 12, 13 and 14 respectively. So these are the 3 isotopes of carbon. In the first one, you can see the number of neutrons is 6. 12 minus 6, 6. In the second one, number of neutrons is 13 minus 6, 7. In the third one, the number of neutrons is 14 minus 6, 8. But all 3 have the same number of electrons and the same number of protons. Okay. Now, let's see the structure of chlorine. Now, chlorine has 2 isotopes whose mass numbers are 35 and 37 respectively, and atomic number remains the same, that is 17. Okay. So in the first one, the number of neutrons is 18. In the second one, the number of neutrons is 20. These are the two isotopes. Now, isotopes have similar chemical properties. Why? It is because they have the same electronic configuration. That is why the isotopes of an element are chemically alike. But they differ in few physical properties such as density, boiling point. Why? Because physical properties, okay, they depend on the atomic mass or the mass number, and we know that isotopes have different mass number. For example, you can see the boiling point of protium is 20.8 Kelvin, and for deuterium it is 23.5 Kelvin. Now let's move to fractional atomic mass. An atom can have a fractional atomic mass. For example, the atomic mass of chlorine is 35.5. Now, what is the reason behind that? The reason for fractional atomic mass is that the atomic mass of an element represents the weighted average of all the naturally occurring isotopes of that element. Now, these are the two isotopes of chlorine. Now, in nature, the percentage of chlorine 35 Cl17 available is 75%, and the percentage of chlorine 37 Cl17 is 25%, or we can say they are present in the ratio of 3:1. So, the average atomic mass is calculated as such: 35 into 3 plus 37 into 1. Why? Because the ratio is 3:1. How? 75% is to 25%. Okay. Divided by 4. So it comes out to be 35.5. This is the explanation behind the fractional atomic mass of chlorine, because the average of the atomic masses have been taken, okay, of the two isotopes of chlorine. Now, few isotopes are radioactive. Radioactive means they emit harmful radiations. For example, carbon 14, tritium, they are known as radioisotopes. Okay, and the decay, the spontaneous decay, continuous decay of unstable radioisotopes is known as radioactivity. Now we'll come to the uses of isotopes. Isotope of cobalt, CO, mass number 60, atomic number 27, is used in radiotherapy. That means to pass this radioactive rays for treating cancer and other diseases. I think so you all have heard about chemotherapy. Okay, so which element is used in chemotherapy? Cobalt. And which isotope of cobalt? 60Co27. Then 14C6, it is used for determining the age of historical and geological material. And the isotope of uranium 235U92, it is used as a fuel in nuclear reactors. And isotope of iodine 131-153, it is used in the treatment of goiter. So you remember these uses of these four isotopes. Okay. Now there are a set of elements called as isobars. They are atoms of different elements, but they have the same mass number but different atomic number. That means they will have different physical and chemical properties. Why? You see, only mass number is same. For example, argon 4018, calcium 4020. Both of them have mass number 40, but atomic numbers are 18 and 20 respectively. Okay, since the atomic numbers are different, they will show different chemical properties, as chemical properties depends upon the electronic configuration. Another example is chromium and iron. Thank you.